Some time ago, I cut together a 1-minute clip from a class that I taught, an online class. It was from some years ago, in fact, about why you don't need everyone to love you. And it's a very short clip. It's a pretty good one, I think, if I do say so myself. It's one of those lessons that I always enjoy revisiting. It's one of those things you can forget, and then you hear it and you think, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. It's actually a very liberating kind of idea that you don't need everybody to love you. You don't need everybody to be a big fan of yours. In fact, you really only need a very small number of people to just kind of like you. And part of the reason why I think this is important for actors especially to hear and to understand is that we all kind of have this fantasy that people are going to hear us, or people are going to see us, and they're going to think, wow, what a talent. Man, this person is just, they're so amazing. They're just incredible. And believe me, sometimes that will happen. If you are talented, sometimes people will recognize it, and maybe even recognize it in a big way. But more often than not, people will hear you, even, you know, in an audition type situation, in a showcase, whatever it may be, and it's much more along the lines of, okay, thank you very much, next. And my point is, it's perfectly okay if people say, thank you very much, next, and they're not gushing over you, and they're not just amazed at your talent. I have heard that many times. Okay, thank you very much, next, and I've booked the part. The enthusiasm for me was not all that excessive, but I got the gig, you know, it led to a really great opportunity, so I can't complain. I've also had people gush and tell me that they thought I was so amazing and so talented, and it led to nothing. In fact, it's funny because I've had a number of people that I've encountered in various connections that I have literally been in touch with for years. And I've, you know, kept them updated on things that I was doing. And in many cases, like if I email them and I say, hey, you know, check out this new thing that I did, I just uploaded it to my Facebook page or whatnot, I've had many people say, wow, that was great. You know, wow, you're so talented. These people never call me for anything. Not all of them, but a lot of them. It's amazing how there's no correlation between people paying you compliments and people actually hiring you, recommending you, you know. There's no correlation at all. And I've had some people be just kind of very businesslike and very, you know, almost seemingly unenthusiastic about me, and yet sometimes those have been the most profitable kinds of relationships for me. So the most important thing is that you're just putting yourself out there and realize everybody has an opinion. Everybody is kind of, you know, focused on their own work and their own projects and whatnot, and they're probably trying to make people believe that they're so brilliant and they're so talented. And, you know, they may pay you some compliments, they may tell you that you're wonderful, but oftentimes, very often, they don't, and that's okay. And it's also okay if they actively don't like you. Believe it or not, there are 1 or 2 people out there who actively don't like me, apparently, who don't think I'm funny. I've had people tell me that. And they're entitled to their opinion. I've had people tell me, you know, comedy is a very difficult kind of thing. It's not for everyone, and, you know, you're just not cut out for it. Which is, no pun intended, but is hilarious because I've done a lot of comedy. I've gotten paid. I've gotten a lot of residual checks for comedic things. I've gotten hired back, you know, by people that I've worked with before for comedic things. It's also interesting too that if people meet you in a certain context, they tend to see you that way, like forever. It's hard for them to see you in any other way. For example, if somebody gets to know me in the context of serious narration, if I so much as mention that I do character voices and I do comedic stuff, they look at me like, huh? You? And yet, if somebody meets me in a comedic connection, in, you know, the connection of doing character voices and funny, crazy characters and whatnot, and then I mention that I do serious narration as well, people often will say, I just can't see you doing that. You just don't seem like a, you know, a serious, dramatic person at all. So there you go. Everybody has their opinion, and a point that I've made many times is you have to understand everybody thinks they're right. There isn't a person on this earth who says, I hold all these opinions and my opinions are wrong. I am 100% wrong on everything. No, everybody believes that they're right. And yet everybody has different opinions. So, you know, as I say, you just got to put yourself out there. You got to put yourself out there. Let the chips fall as they may. Realize that not everybody is going to love you. Not everybody's going to like you. But if you can just find that core group of people, this is what you'll find over time. There are certain people who like you enough to want to hire you and pay you money. And those will be the people that you'll find will be the really valuable people in your career. Those are the people that are going to call you again and again, and they'll recommend you, and you'll find that those contacts lead to other things, which is what I love, is when things lead to other things. And, you know, that's really all that you need. And another point that I made in the excerpt from the class is I said, name one celebrity who's universally loved. Name one singer. Name one musician. It's probably more obvious in the realm of music. You know, I'll hear about some country star. I don't even remember who it was, but in my hometown of Pittsburgh, I know there was a big controversy about a certain country artist who had a big concert, and you know, big, huge stadium concert, and there was a lot of trash left over, and a lot of noise, and a lot of people were kind of very upset about this. But the point was, it was a huge, huge, huge concert for this country artist that honestly I can't even remember his name right now, because I'm not a fan, because I don't really care. It's just not my style. I'm not into it. But apparently this country artist is doing all right without me. He doesn't need me. He just needs his fans, you know, who in that case are, you know, very enthusiastic. But I'm sure lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people probably would not go to his concert or not buy his songs, and that's perfectly fine. You have a lot of people who either are oblivious to that particular person, or they actively don't like that person. And hey, it's okay. In fact, I think in a lot of ways it's better to be polarizing. I remember years ago hearing Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead saying that you're either a fan of the Grateful Dead, you either love us, or you can't stand us and you don't see what's the big deal. You're either traveling around in a VW bus from concert to concert, maybe can't even get into the concert because you can't afford the tickets, so you just camp outside with all the other fans, or you don't get the whole Grateful Dead thing at all. Grateful Dead, in fact, were one of the most successful concert draws ever. And they just kept going and going and going and going for years. But again, how many people would say, I mean, like, truly, how many people would say, I don't care for their music, I don't get it, I don't see what's the appeal? You know, again, you don't need everybody to love you. In fact, it can be a very good thing if some people actually aren't into you, because it probably means that you're doing something different. If you don't have at least some people who don't like you, it probably means you're pretty bland. So don't be afraid to be polarizing. It's perfectly all right. So that's what I think. If you have any thoughts, feel free to leave a comment, and I will talk to you later.